are suffering from is ideological confusion. That is, that we're not clear, we're not thinking clearly, and that we need a context within which to answer the question, is something good or bad? We assume that we have the same goals, but we never say what they are. It's time for us to think and articulate and establish our goals as Black nationalists and Pan-Africanists. We need vision, we need clarity. Otherwise, we can't answer the question, is it good for African people? Nationalist goal is self-determination. In the spirit of Delaney, Garvey, Malcolm, Amos, it is Pan-African commitment, that is the unity of African people worldwide and one Africa on the continent as a basis for African strength. So we are about building a Pan-African world order based on the principles of Ma'at, not in imitation of a European order. Ma'at as justice and truth. We need a nation concept, as Dr. Clark told us. A Black economic program, a cultural program, an independent political organization, independent Black media, independent African-centered education financed by us and controlled by us. All of this presupposes, very importantly, an African Black identity.
Otep people, and welcome back to our sixth episode of the African World Order podcast. And today we have a good topic for you. But before we go on, I'm going to let the panel, our usual co-host that we have, let introduce themselves. I'm going to start with Sister Iya.
Hey, it's Iya Iwalea. I said my own damn name wrong.
We're getting there. It's an adjustment.
It's all right.
Y'all. You and Lewa.
So, like, we just had the dinner ceremony, and you probably knew Sister Iwa as Lydia, but like after the nice ceremony that we had, that was like 3 weeks ago. Now she's Iya Ewalewa, and like we all trying to get used to it, but of course, so. Sometimes I'm going to say it wrong, but like, sister, you forgive me, right? We brothers and sisters.
I forgive you.
If I say it wrong, just don't be mad at me. All right, who else we have here on the show? Let's another lady here. I think that's a familiar face. It's been a while you've seen her. She's been busy. Sister Wawa, go ahead.
Oh yeah, hey y'all, it's me, Wa. Glad to be here with everybody again. I've been away for a little while, but I'm following the conversation, so I'm just glad to be with the family tonight and talking about the topic.
Yeah, we had a lot of you. They've been asking about you, what you've been to, like what's going on with you. Is there something we can do to help? But like, no, we told them like, no, Wawa is good. She's good. She's doing well. So thank you for being with us. And the last one, we have our brother Talawa. What did I introduce yourself? Tell the people who you are.
All right, hold up, everybody. This is Talawa. You're used to seeing me every episode. I'm just ready to get started. I'm always glad to chat with everybody and discuss things that need to be discussed and putting things in perspective. So
all right.
I'm ready. I'm ready for you.
I'm ready too. So as you know, the main topic today is going to be about Borderless Africa. We're going to kind of have a little chat about it. So hopefully you're ready for this topic. But as you know, before we go into that, we have now a new tradition. We got to start with the bullshit.
That bullshit. We got to get that bullshit out the way.
We got to get this bullshit out of the way because, like, in order to talk properly, we need to hit those bullshit. Some people don't think that we don't see what's going on around, you know what I mean? And it's always good. It's always a pleasure. A little bit of fun, but a little bit of seriousness. We want to make sure that we speak about those bullshit going on around us. You know what I mean? So, are you ready for this bullshit for the first one? All right, so
we ain't never ready for the bullshit, but here we go.
You gotta go with
here
it.
we are.
Go with it. All right, so the first one I'm going to introduce you to, that's me. We're going to talk about this French military convoy stop in the Sahel. I don't know if you've been following what's going on in the Sahel. Like, there's a lot of terrorist killings down there, and that's since the downfall of Libya, right? And many of those terrorists have been using the weapon that the French people dropped, you know what I mean, by airplane. And we know there's also other places where like they get their weapon, but basically the people in Burkina Faso, let me share this my screen with you. Oops, sorry. um, there's like um, there's like a huge convoy, a French convoy that was coming from Ivory Coast and going toward Niger. And the in Burkina Faso, like in November, they had something like 49, I think 80 people who got killed. Like, and that's like another 80 deaths. Too much for them, and they had enough. Like they see that the more French they have in the territory, the more killing they have. And seeing that French convoy, they had to stop it. They say like, you're going back where you come from. And that was they were there for days, maybe a week. And then they went to Niger. After a long negotiation with the Burkina Faso government, they used a different route and got to Niger. And the same thing happened over there, where like people from Niger also, where like they've been seeing a lot of terrorist killing. They also stopped the same convoy. But what was worse is that actually the French people kill allegedly. You know what I mean? I have to say allegedly, but I think they did. They killed two people who were protesting against it. So like we had two deaths during the protest that happened in Nigeria. So you can go online. I wanted to share this quick article that you can find online, of course, that speak more about it. The French convoy that was stopped in Niger. So that's my bullshit going on here in the continents. So anything you want to say about it?
Yeah, I mean, not so much like exactly that, but I think just honing in on the French.
Mhm,
I need people to take notice, like the French is going from west to east, right? Like they're
mhm,
just
mhm,
making their way over.
mhm,
And it's important for us to find out, like, obviously why they're going over, you know what I'm
mhm,
saying, and they're using the same the same tactics, but why they leaving the West? You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? If it's so established or whatever, and they have, a lot of stuff that's going on, we need to question that. Like, why are you leaving the West? What's going on? And who else, you know what I'm saying? Are you leaving the West because you up against some
Mhm,
other, what I'm saying, foreign invaders that's on a continent? But
mhm,
I
mhm,
mean, the bullshit is, and I hope everybody realizes, is that the French is not the African's friend.
exactly.
You know what
It's
I mean?
basically
So
the more like wherever they are, they see more killing, more terrorist attack. That's kind of the simplest way of people seeing. And if
Facts.
really like we seeing all those killing initially is their fault, because the UA, even if I don't like the African Union that much, even if like I believe like they're corrupt, but at least we can say that they told Sarkozy back then when he was the French president not to plan to assassinate um, Gaddafi, and they went on and they decided to do it and kill him, and now they cause an entire chaos. So like they're the reason behind all those killing. I mean, so like whatever is happening right now is their fault, because they they intervene in Libya, and today all this weapon and all this chaos is their fault. So that's really also another good reason why the people are protesting against this French presence in Africa that don't resolve anything, you know. And they've been there since like for now almost 10 since 2012 or since 2013, you know. All right. So, anyone, Talawa, you want to add something to this BS right there? or are we moving
The
on?
only thing I would say is, I had the thought in my head. Well, the thing is about France being the enemies of African people. I think I like that emphasis because we've had a couple episodes, maybe two or three, where we've gotten into this issue of what does independence mean. And I think situations like that are important because when we get into, because this is a narrative that always irks me in the Caribbean and the continent, this is a narrative that irks me, is there's corruption, corrupt leader, corrupt. No one ever wants to identify the white spider that creates the prostitutions in the continent and the Caribbean. So I think this is really good to highlight what the French are, the white person that creates the prostitutions in the continent, because it gets into flag independence is not the same as cultural sovereignty. And I think that I would just emphasize that.
All right.
Yeah, for me, I apologize. I'm not too familiar with this particular story that, in the recent news, but in general, there's enough bullshit from France on the continent, West Africa. We can go on for a whole conversation. But this particular story I wasn't too familiar with, so I didn't really have much to add on that.
Yeah, and it's okay not to know too much about it. And the main thing is you're aware of it and you can go and find out. We don't know all these topics we'll be talking about tonight, but the main thing is it's always important that you can always go and try to find out what's going on in the continent, and also ask questions if you don't.
I'm usually up to speed on what's going on in the continent, but that particular story I'm not. So
no, it's good. I was speaking to the people out there because I don't know a lot of stories that we're going to talk about today.
You know what? It's impossible to keep up with everything around.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So the next topic that we have, right? We're going to move on. It's what's going on in Ghana? What's on with them? What's up? You want to tell us a little bit, Sister Iya, what's going on with them? What's happening?
So everybody say hi to my cat. I don't know why he feel like it's his debut, but anyway. So everybody knows and have heard recently, and just not right now.
Let him be in the podcast. He chilling, joining the conversation.
You want to say something? You want to say something?
You want to hear the bullshit?
Yeah, because he tapping me, and I'm like, not right now. But everybody heard in the news about recently Ghana's made this declaration that you have to be vaccinated to enter into the country, and that right there was like a bombshell for a lot of people, right? So you have to, returning travelers have to vaccinate, but taking a step further, I forget how recent it was, but he did a speech basically saying that's the goal, right? To have all the adults in Ghana vaccinated, and as well as targeting the 15 to 18-year-old population. So it's come on. You know what I'm saying? All of us was rooting for Ghana. You know what I'm saying? We loved what Ghana was about, a lot of things that they put forth. And so they come with this, and it's just
shutting the back.
What is going on? I think a lot of people are just oh man. And I think we gonna call it the BS, because just the whole proclamation in terms of why they going so hard. I mean, just roughly, we know Africa handled the whole situation a lot better than how the West did. So nobody really even understands. Nobody can't even really get down to why he going so hard. We can make assumptions, right? But nobody is
giving. You know what it's giving though? It's giving white acceptance or white approval. It's you want to vaccinate everybody, be the first African country to vaccinate so that you can appease who? Who? The World Health Organization?
And I think And I think it's also like a kick in the face for like, because it's a lot of people around here who really not understanding like what is really underneath it all, right? So for a lot of people that's talking about it, like we're saying, like, yo, like, don't y'all overstand the history of like this sort of
Vaccination on the
campaign on a
continent.
yeah, on a continent, right? Like we gotta be smart about this, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
yeah, like I know for a
But
lot of
that, but
I was
that leads into the other point I think we wanted to touch on, which was Ghana trying to spearhead like vaccination
right.
yeah.
made, on the continent, made
Mhm.
by Africans for Africans, I would imagine.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I don't know how I feel about that either, but it's almost like
yeah,
not to like steer the main point, which is
yeah.
that Ghana is now making people get COVID vaccine, but the bigger point of they want to like start a vaccine center for Africa. Now I'm like,
And so that's not a bad thing, right? Like we should, in terms of like us saying we want to do this and we want to do this, but
Yeah.
like the motivation though, like you know what I'm saying, like what was going on like 10-15 years ago that you didn't have that same motivation, right? Like you know what I'm saying. So
why
I think
are
to
they
me
saying
that's
this now because of COVID?
now, right?
Is
Like
it,
it's
is,
a
it,
long
is it
time
is it because they see the bag and they want to
Yeah.
get to it, or is it
That's
because they see how the global world will control you if you don't produce your own thing, produce your
but
own
you
Yeah.
already
medicine,
know,
vaccine?
and that's what's important, right? I think what we
Yeah.
should never forget is that conversation and following the money. Again, it's not. I, I have a lot of feelings on it. I just don't. I don't.
It's not healthy for you to talk
I don't
about it.
think they can talk me out of it not being because of them. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all, this uh, to
The
say the
one
least. To say the least is BS. But I have to say like I'm really disappointed. I'm really
yeah.
disappointed.
The,
I'm really
the
disappointed
one
more
thing
so in the motivation
But
on
here's the
the
why.
thing.
one thing I was checking while you were talking is I wanted to know what's the death toll of COVID in Ghana since it has started, because like for me it's important. What is your motive? Like even if I have to give you the benefit of the doubt, you know what I mean? And what I found out is like since 2019 is like 1,400 people have died from the COVID, you know what I mean? And for me, like I know those numbers, like they're not, like I don't trust these numbers so much because the way like they they manipulate data. So like I'm not too sure about it. But like I wonder what is the motive, like when you have such a low rate death of COVID, like why would you vaccinate people at the airport? Like does that
Right,
justify it? You know what I
right,
mean?
right,
As far as like the other part that you brought, like if Ghana want to have like their own vaccination research center, that's beautiful. I have no problem with that. But again, like you said earlier, is like why now? Like what did you think about it before? But like when we're going forward, is vaccination the African, like if we have to look from an African Afrocentric perspective, is it the priority? Is that the is it the only solution to cure a disease? You know what I mean? Like,
Okay, but
what about funding like research and also like African medicine? Because something has worked in Africa, and that's what you have to investigate on. Why are you such in a rush to have just like the same thing that the white people, the European country have done, instead of looking into what your own culture, your own people are capable of producing? And that's the thing that always bothered me with African leader. You know what I mean? It's just like the lack of explore. I mean, maybe they're not really creative. They don't look
right.
within themselves, like within their own culture. They trust more what is coming from outside. Like they're
no,
not
that's not true.
capable.
The government
Mhm.
trusts other outside things, but people individually, they come up with their own innovations. The people want to be creative and provide solutions, but they don't have the resources. The
People,
government
but the
is the ones
leaders
that
are the leader. Is the leadership that we find in
the
Ghana
leadership, yeah, the
creative?
government. But our people are never the ones at fault. They're
No,
very creative, and we are very innovative. So I just
mhm.
wanted to interject there real quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I did not say I did not say if I say that the African people are not creative. No, that's a lie. I say the leadership that we have, because we know like them is educated, they got the education from somewhere else. It's not the African education, and like they lack completely of creativity. You know what I mean? But
Right.
rest in peace, the president of Tanzania. You know, he was the and also I want to pay homage to the president in Madagascar. They're the two leaders that
Yep.
really impressed me. And like I know some people, I post a big post over there about the COVID organic. I still believe in that thing. I'll take it before any vaccine. I say that publicly. You know what I mean? I take it even if it kills me. But it's just like the nationalism is also believing in your own institution. You know what I mean? Like I
Right.
will be,
Right.
I want to
That's
be
important.
poisoned. I want to be poisoned by our medication because I want to be
Okay,
tried.
the rest, everyone else does that. Everyone
Yeah,
else does
everybody
that
does
with
it.
their poison, but they believe that's
Yeah.
what you need, right?
If I want to be poisoned by a medication or a vaccine or whatever, it has to be African made. I
But
don't want
we'll
to be
believe
poisoned.
in it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's for sure.
because I believe in my institution.
But
That's
wait. There's another point to be made here, though. It's why would you, on one hand, force everyone to vaccinate using these other vaccinations, and then also say, well, we're going to start our own vaccination thing? Like, it's kind of contradictory, right? So that again goes
So
back
that's
to
what
like, why are you
you
going to say
you
we're going to take these jabs, but we're going to build our own vaccines? Like, you probably shouldn't like enforce all these vaccines to be,
Yeah.
administered to all these adults. Then, if you already know, you need to start producing your own.
But you
I
bring up
guess.
a good point though, because I think that's the thing, right? Kind of going back to like the larger point, these African leaders, because if you talk to a lot of people, and I've spoken to a lot of Ghanaians on how they feel about this current president, first thing come out of their mouth is, yeah, I like this guy, he pan-African, right? Like he want to do this for black people and all this stuff. And then when you listen to him talk, like I get it. Like I get why people would do that. So it's just like, we're dealing with, again, talking out of both sides of your mouth, right? So that's always been the question, like, okay, well, why are you doing this and why are you doing that? I mean, in the end, I mean, not too long ago, he was on the cover as like what, the #1 African on Forbes or whatever the title was.
Yeah.
Man of the
So
year.
you can only imagine what kind of, you know what I'm saying, what kind of like weight, or African of the
There
year.
it is, African of the year.
So I mean,
I mean,
you can
can I
always
interject?
follow the money.
Yeah.
Just follow
Go
the
ahead,
money.
Talawa.
Yeah.
Can I interject briefly? I mean, post the Forbes up thing again one time. No, it's not a joke. I want to make a point about this. And this is something I saw a brother post on social media, got me thinking. I'm not surprised because look at what he's wearing. I see no African clothes. And yet you're there Ghana and wear no African clothes and you're a leader.
Yes.
I don't see that's always a sign, right? Particularly in a continental context, I think that's very important. I know some people get upset when I bring up the clothes thing, but that's the first sign, right? I think he has a genuine interest, in terms of getting, African people of the diaspora coming to Ghana. But I guess with this vaccination plan, some potential repatriations may be delayed.
Right.
That's the first thing. But what I wanted to initially say before I saw the picture, I had to comment on the clothes thing. That I have to. As a recovering suit addict, I had to comment on that. But I think this gets the root of this problem. Again, I don't think you're dealing with that critique aside, with the Prime Minister of Ghana. I don't think you're so much dealing with a prostitution as much as you're dealing with conceptual incarceration. Right? That's what we as Afrocentrists, we pay attention to. Right? That's what, because I look at it like, just to quote Carter G. Woodson, I'm going to say it in part. If you can control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his action. And there's some stuff in between. But if you make a man think that he is just an outcast, you do not have to order him to the back door. He will go without being told. And if there is no back door, his very nature will demand one. That's Carter G. Woodson, for the miseducation of the Negro. And it comes from, the prostitution factory or the indoctrination factory called school. A lot of, or I would say fundamentally, the schooling system in the continent as well as the Caribbean is an expansion of the Eurasian mission school. So even when, and I think this is what makes colonization of the African mind so deadly, the deadliest aspect, in my opinion, this is my opinion, it shapes what we think of as good. So sometimes it's not even that he really wants to go out the back door, but your training is in such a way that you're going to make that back door without realizing that's what you're doing.
Right.
Because it's so normative, just like it's so normative to pose up in a suit when you're in Ghana, right?
Mhm.
Rather than your old clothes for Forbes, right? It's that kind of a thing. And also the World Health, because Shinudi brought up Madagascar and Tanzania. I remember before the vaccine came out, and I believe it was the leader from Madagascar or a team in Madagascar. They said you could treat COVID without the vaccination, and who reject them? The World Health Organization.
Yes.
So the World Health Organ. That's why I don't like these things like universal human. I'm getting into the United Nations and stuff. Anytime I hear United or World, it's always European universalism institutions in disguise. Because the World Health Organization is about how Europeans tell the world how to deal with health. That's what World Health Organization is. Because I think Madagascar was rejected, if I'm not mistaken, by WHO. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, remember there were like 4 countries in Africa, right? And it was all of a sudden like 3 of those countries, their presidents died the past year. Remember that?
Yeah.
So we were looking at the Madagascar president. I think we said something like that, like in last season about it.
Yeah.
Right.
But that was no coincidence.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I just hope I don't know. I just hope that people just don't take this sitting down and really start asking questions, because this is for a lot of people it's just disappointing, because I just don't think this is really the angle that they need to focus on. Like it just it doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate. I'm sad for. I mean, like every African country that kind of go that far. I mean, vaccinating people. I don't want to. I'm disappointed in that president. I mean, I knew he was funky to me because like I don't know where he really leaned toward.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that was like too much. You don't need to go that far. You know what I mean? Check if I'm.
I think, and if you talk like I know in Nigeria, at least the people I know, the people on the ground who live there are not trying to take vaccinations.
Yeah.
Like they're not. Just like probably in the Black community, people aren't taking the shot. They're not messing with it. And people in Africa are the same way. It's just the people you see on TV talking about, we should vaccinate. It's important. We need to get these vaccinations. Thank you, China. Thank you, London and Britain and America for giving us these vaccines. Yeah. We're so blessed to have, that energy from the people you see on TV. But the people on the ground that I know, they're like, nah, we're not taking that.
Nope.
So it begs the question also, do they, from the Nigerian friends that I have, for the most part, they obviously understand like British history and they're not really, a lot of the people I know that I'm friends with, I can say from Nigeria, who I know through university or academia, they're more so not really going to be talking about the vaccination history and they're not on the continent of Africa. I don't know if they really know that or aware of it on the ground, but they still don't trust it anyway, or they don't want it, or they feel they don't need it.
Yeah.
So I think, why do you see the push for Africans on TV and the government, but people on the ground are not doing that? That's not the real situation.
And just so we're clear, I need people to understand, we're not telling whatever you want to do, vaccinate or not vaccinate, that's your choice. We're just talking about the taking away that choice and saying that this is absolutely how it has to be done. That is what we're discussing. What you want to do, what I'm saying, let's put it out there. That's your business. I'm not here to argue that with you. You know what I'm saying?
I never seen. My thing is always that I never seen a scientific problem that has only one solution. I'm looking for it, and it's not today, and it's not gonna be tomorrow. And I don't know why African people have to feel compelled to just be like, you take that or you go back where you come from, or you cannot enter here. I mean, for me, it's ridiculous. It's those simple rules that people should at least think about. There's no one single, and there's no one scientific solution problem that has one solution. I don't know about it. I'm still looking for it, and if I found it, I'm sure going to be posting about it for the rest of my life.
So do what you want, but just ask questions, and these are questions we asking. So, you know what I'm saying? We going to let us know what y'all on, what y'all doing. Like some people out here need to know.
All right, the next one we have, because we have to kind of finish with the bullshit. Tata, oh, I missed Tata. Wawa, you wanted to tell us about what's going on in Florida? Something?
No, not really. No, but
you don't want.
Florida's crazy. You know, Florida is crazy. But right now, though, I'm in New York. But yeah, I feel like you should play the clip. Can you roll the clip? It's pretty. You know.
Can I roll it? I just put an article, but like, let me see if I can put the clip. I'm gonna call the engineer. Engineer. You didn't get the engineer ready. Well, you can keep it. You can go and talk to the people.
Okay. I think the clip was important to play if we can find it, because that was, you know, the way he said it and the way he quoted Martin Luther King in his point, which is very just offensive, and you know, the whole thing all around. And I wish if we can find it. You know what?
Yeah,
I want to play the clip for the people. Like, I feel like the people need to see him saying this and talking, unless, you know.
All right.
You absolutely can't. There we go. Yeah, play the clip. Roll it, Shanudi.
Our country founded. What were some of the key ideas that made us different? You think about what MLK stood for. He said he didn't want people judged on the color of their skin, but on the content of their character. You listen to some of these people nowadays, they don't talk about that. A new piece of legislation for the upcoming legislative session called Stop Wrongs Against Our Kids and Employees Act, the Stop Woke Act. And it's something that and this will do a number of things that are very important. One, it will put into statute the Department of Education's prohibition on CRT in K through 12 schools. No taxpayer dollars should be used to teach our kids to hate our country or to hate each other. We want.
I think that's it.
Yeah, so you see him saying one thing that really stuck out to me, right? So they're putting a statute, they're putting into law that you cannot teach critical race theory, pretty much anything about the racist history of this country in schools, right? One, you're basically saying we don't want to teach history then. And two, you're basically saying we don't want you to be woke. Stop being woke. We're going to pass an act for you not to be woke. Like, they chose that acronym for a reason, right? And they're saying woke was stop or you know, not to against our kids and our employees, right? Basically saying that you're oppressing them with giving them information and history. Everything about it is just ass backwards. Like, it's bad for us to think that we can send our children to school and they're going to be educated. We already were on that tip, right? Yeah. But now they're literally putting into legislation, we're not going to teach you history. Like, how much more do we need to see? We need to pull our children out of schools, or we need to educate them ourselves, or start opening black schools, because they're just going to have a generation of kids walking around here dumb, anti-historical, ahistorical. You know what I mean? And I just thought it was a very disrespectful. It was a slap in the face. He invoked MLK and used what Martin Luther King did, completely opposite of any of what he's talking about, to spin it around and encourage his constituents and you know, the people of Florida to get behind this act.
I have a question for Talawa.
You know what?
I have a question for Talawa.
Wait, I'm sorry. The one thing I think I kind of touched upon it. He said, we're not going to teach our children to hate our country. So the real history of this country is so bad that if they know it, they would hate America. You get what I'm saying?
But Shanudi, before you,
that's what he's saying. Like, we don't want to spend taxpayer dollars to teach kids to hate this country. That means you're saying we don't want to teach them history. That's crazy. That's crazy.
You know what? You know what I'll say to that, Wahida? And this is, I don't give a fuck what he think. I don't give a fuck. And we need to start. We need to start. Excuse me, y'all. Excuse me to whoever is offended by what I just said. Who gives a fuck what DeSantis say? I don't want y'all teaching my kids shit. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna teach them what I want to teach them, right? So when I call you whatever I call you, because you don't want to face the facts, eat that shit. You're fucking racist. I don't care. You understand? Like, we gotta stop caring about this shit.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. We don't give a fuck what you think, what you say. But I don't like the disrespect though. I don't like that little underhanded disrespect. That was what made me upset.
That's not
don't say anything about Martin Luther King. Don't say anything about people. Stop. But yeah, you're right.
Though. That's their behavior. I don't give a fuck. Ain't nothing he could say that I care about. Other than I'm gonna tell my kids, like, listen, that's not what we do here. You understand what I'm saying?
But you can see also.
Y'all know I pulled my children out of school, right?
You did. Oh, beautiful.
I pulled them out of school again. I'm not doing that.
So my daughter, she decided she wanted to go back. So I was like, all right, do your thing. She every day she go to school, she was like, Mom, I don't know. I was like, I don't know either, but you know what I'm saying? She know what it is. And I'll tell you this much. Teach your kids at home, arm them up at home, because what he's saying, all them teachers is like that. All those administrators is like that. You know what I'm saying? And then we sending our kids to school. You know what I'm saying? So I literally had an issue real quick, right? This administrator of school or whatever called me. We're talking about how my daughter is having an issue with another child, and she tells her teacher that I think this child is bullying me. I don't like it. I've tried to talk to her. My daughter is very articulate, right? This lady, the teacher goes up to the teacher, you go up to the minister. I'm at work, I'm in school, I don't know this is even going on. They're all doing this. I get a call and she's talking about once bullying gets thrown around, it gets serious and blah, blah. And, I've talked to her, I've talked to the other girl, and it seems that your daughter is just so articulate for her age. She's using words with this other child, and, she doesn't really understand what she's doing and saying, this child is racist. And I said, ma'am, that means that child needs to be better educated then. We can't fault my child because this other kid doesn't understand what they're doing and doesn't understand what my child is saying when she's articulating it to her. Like, y'all need to step up with this other child, not try to downplay that this is bullying. Right.
You know what I mean? My daughter can identify, like, this person keeps bothering me. I keep asking them to stop, and it's very simple. And I told my daughter to just keep doing what she's doing. We're about to be out of there. Listen, don't let anyone bother you. You got to have racial conversations early with the kids. Like, that's true. My daughter wears her hair naturally. None of those kids are wearing their hair naturally. They're all pressing their girls' hair. If there are any black, in the area where I live. And I got to get them out.
And to your point, my daughter is the only black girl in AP classes. You understand what I'm saying? So she in a class, she like, what are they teaching? Right? So she already going in like, I don't expect them to be on my side. But going back to the original point, who cares what these people got to say? Right? Who cares? Right. Also, we also need to, going back to what Shanuti said at the top, there's an opportunity for us to be creative and innovative, but we know that before us they left us a blueprint. So we don't got to go at it alone. We have information that we can use. What am I saying? Again, when the pandemic first started, everybody was talking about taking their kids out of school. Don't abandon that idea. Okay, if you're not in a position where you can teach your kids at home, let's do this Pan-African Saturday school. Y'all, since y'all met me, y'all know that's been my thing. Let's get back to that. You understand what I'm saying? We don't have to do things the way that they do things in order to educate our children. I don't care what he's saying. He would never be able to teach me. He doesn't know anything about me. He hasn't experienced anything about me. I don't expect anything more than what he just said. And we got to stop looking at them like, dog, you're not offending me. You not. I don't care. You understand? You make it legislation. Oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? What this? When has that ever? Like, we need to stop fucking caring so much. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? That information. You know, he's
You know
saying what
what?
he's
I
saying.
mean,
I'm feeling.
would,
No,
I would
wait.
say,
I want to say something real quick. She's right, real quick. Everything, so much of everything we have to talk about and do and react to has to relate to these white people and this white behavior and white
Fucking over it.
experience. So you're right. Like, we can't worry about what they saying and what they doing, but we have to figure out how to get out of the spaces that keep us dealing with them. Especially like
But
in this case, we're talking about education.
I
we
mean, it's
gotta
also
build
the
these
thing.
things.
You got to build them.
Sister
Yeah.
Iya, I think the one thing I also think is important, this type of thing is important to know, is because actually what you're seeing here, you have these parents in school, they're not aware of what's really going on. They think that the kids are having an education. But like with those type of legislation, you know what I mean? They are making them ignoring, or like they like what I spoke about, like they
Yeah,
make them think that not only they don't have like they're not
they're gonna run into
they're
kids in the
colorless,
other side of the
you know what
world
I
who
mean?
do know your history, and
Yeah.
they're gonna look dumb as hell.
Yeah, like they don't know their own history. I think again that's another example of like the government institution, American institution, trying to miseducate our children, and that's really important. And even not just our children, but like the entire population and the world, like woke act, like what is to be woke? Because that's one question I wanted to kind of throw at Talawa earlier, like because I never honestly, like every time I see critical race theory, like I'm kind of like I never really tried to understand what it is. I kind of have an idea, but I never research on it. So I was interested to know a little bit what it is. But like from what I'm hearing, you know what I mean, it's kind of like one of those sneaky move, like because a lot of parents, and that's the sad part. Yes, we can ignore it and say like I want to take my child out and all those things, but you have a lot of these parents who don't even understand what is critical race theory. You know what I mean? Like it's probably an academic term, but like what does it mean in your daily life? Like what it is for you, and like why is it important that you have to pay attention? I think that's the part where like people just look at it. Oh, I'm not gonna even look at it. I don't care. Like they pass whatever act they want, but like that's probably something I don't talk. Like I just want my child to learn his math and get a job and work in a corporate, or maybe now the trend is like let my kid just have like a what's the term, like financial literacy, and you're gonna learn how to have a business. But when it comes to race, move away from that. Like people don't want to speak about race. They think that this is it's becoming. They want to legally make it taboo. That's my feeling. So maybe Talawa, you want to say something, because I know like you have a few things you want to say, so we can move to the next segment of the show. You muted. You muted, Talawa.
We can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I'm not on mute anymore. I'm unmuted.
You're good. You're
Okay,
good now.
all right, I'm good now. All right. The only thing I would say, the question I know was raised, by all three of you.
Mhm.
Do we care? Should we care? And why we care?
Mhm.
That is a question of politics, because now you're getting into, because it's like, this is how I felt about, no, let me not do that. It's a political question.
Mhm.
Do you want to raise children to, empower African people in the sense of a Pan-African direction with an Afrocentric ideological disposition? Or do you want your children to be able to move through be able to navigate the plantation, aka get a job in a corporate society? And I think that's what this comes down to whenever it comes to the schooling question. And how I look at it is, you can tell the ideology of or orientation, I should say, or mindset of an African person by how they respond to these kinds of actions. So not trying to deny that DeSantis is a white supremacist. I'm not denying that this is an act of white supremacy. Not denying that. But in terms of what we should be doing, it's going to be determined on our political basis, because some parents will fight to push anti-racism education, which I also think is a problem. I think critical race theory is a problem. The attack against critical race theory, which comes out of critical legal studies, starting with African-American legal scholar Derek Bell. Actually, one of the things he was noted for was interest convergence theory, is that the only reason white people do anything that seemingly benefits Black people is when there's an economic or political interest for them at stake. So there's that. So yeah, so I could see why. But now critical race theory, as I've seen it discussed in media, is more just anything discussing race as a social construct. That's sort of what it seems to be. But in that context, so you have the right wing, I guess, backlash against critical race theory, and then you have the liberal anti-racism theory, which is completely delusional, integrationist, blah, 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 blah. And I have no interest in having my children involved in that. That's all I would say, just from my perspective. We don't need our children in school with them. I think this is clear in that sense. But for those parents who, are in compromised positions, I think it involves a lot of creative supplemental work that Sister Ia and Sister Wawa was talking about. So that's where where we often have to be creative, as usual with most things. But I do think this is one of those indicators that you have to think politically, because I know with a lot of our people, we're very, I know Ukanini Kamban, or his father says this, Kamal Kaman says this, African people are very serious about not being serious. And when I see the way sometimes we discuss school things, it's almost like we're trying to use moral suasion with a people who do not have a moral disposition towards us. You know what I mean? So that's always kind of my thing with those conversations.
For me, I think it's just using this as a good opportunity to, again, reinforce, you got to take your kids out of school. We need to educate our own kids, because don't forget, none of this is overnight. You're not going to tell someone, hey, you need to educate our children one time and it's just going to click. We have to keep, making sure that we support this transition and this movement and help people, wake up and realize this is not for us. So that's a process, right? And I think when these things happen, I just want to be clear that it's not so much, that we want to care what they're saying and doing, but again, using it as an opportunity for me, just reminding myself why I'm doing this. Okay, here it is. Here's the bullshit. This is why I'm taking my children this direction. And then again, talking to my friends and family and, on here, so we can help the rest of our people make better decisions for ourselves, right? And for their children, which is better for us as a whole collectively, because my children are going to deal with y'all's children and the rest of our people's children. So I think of it as an opportunity to talk about this bullshit as a means to help reinforce what we're saying and why you need to go do this.
Oh, definitely. I think that's sometimes what it requires. Sometimes we need those nigger reminders to kind of get the point. Sometimes it's unfortunate, but it's the truth.
This is what I'm saying, right? Everything that y'all saying is, I agree. This whole thing about them not teaching race theory and loving America and all of this stuff, this goes back to, again, if they were teaching history properly, and this is why I don't care what they're saying, this going back to the Civil War where Daughters of the Dixie was like, oh, we lost the Civil War, but we can't teach that, right? They don't even teach that in history. So why am I taking you? You don't even understand, where we are right now is not nothing new. They've been had this plan, right? They've
been not teaching history.
This is what I'm saying. How it is now is how they already had it set up. So I don't care, because you're not even truthful about that. You're not even giving people the realness about that. And the reason why you're not doing it, because it's bullshit. You understand what I'm saying? But
they also know that they can tell their own story how they want to tell it. They're aware that
that's exactly what the setup was. But I need the people to know, here at AI Philly, Afrocentricity International, we tell the truth. Visit us. And you can get information about us on www.aiphilly.org. Like I said, in past, and I'll keep saying it's something that we're building on. but you can get information about who we are, what the organization is about. We're still growing, so information is going to be added, and you can learn more. You can visit us on our all our social media handles. Like now, the live stream is on our AI Philly channel on YouTube. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. We are also on IG. So visit us there to see what's going on.
And a baby to me.
20 and a Biba Toomey. Yes, thank you. Shout out to uh
Ogunini,
oh man, Okanini Cambone. Y'all,
Ogudele.
I'm going through some midlife memory stuff. But and also if you are so inclined, donate to us. You know what I'm saying? We are you, you are us. You know what I'm saying? Like the support is much appreciated, and we take donations via Cash App, right? $ AI Philly. So yeah, all of those avenues, reach out to us, let us know, show us some love through the Cash App, however you feel. But we out here, we doing the work. We may not be doing it the way that other people doing it, but we out here doing the work. So yeah. And speaking of teaching like history and stuff like that, you know, Shanuda, you ain't approved this, but reach out, look out for the or go visit the Abibi2Me platform. You know what I'm saying? Everything that we seen that we looking for, we tired of being on these people platform. Check them out. And I know via Talawa, brother Talawa did a Medu class via their platform. It knocked me out a little bit, but it was a good platform. It was a good class. So, we out here doing the work. If you want to find out what's going on with us and other people that we're connected to, again, stay plugged in with us. aiphilly.org is the website. Visit us on our social media handle. And then also, if you look, Shanudi has a book by our own brother. We call him Kiki, brother Kiki, who
Kiki.
he wrote a great book about African deities, African gods, and that's just volume 1. So if you want more information, it's a great Kwanzaa gift. If you want more information, please reach out to us, and so we can reach out and give you pricing, all of that stuff. But it's a great gift, and actually especially great for our homeschoolers, who want to start teaching their kids. This is a great way to introduce them to African spirituality and the different gods and goddesses, as they would say, that have been throughout our histories, different African spiritual systems and traditions. And this young brother is Kiki's what, 16?
Yep.
It's 16 now, yeah.
Homeschooled 16-year-old.
Yeah. From
Dr. Mazama's son. So this book is a reflection on when we put when we put ourselves first, this is what our children do. This is what
I have
we
a
want
family
them
member
to do.
who's Kiki's age. He's learning about white cracker Shakespeare instead of writing a book about divinity. So just to put things in perspective.
Right.
So if you want more information about the book,
good book,
pricing and everything else, like I said, please make sure you cop the book. I got one for myself. My sister's getting, like, everybody I know that got kids, they're like, yeah, put me down. They want to be down. So don't be left out. Be part of the cool club.
Yeah.
Cop his book. What's the title? Read the title, Shanuti.
Dictionary of African Divinities.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dictionary of African Divinities. Volume 1.
Oh, that's the volume 1. Yeah, like I think he goes to
he has a couple. He's going through the whole alphabet, so I think that's from A to P, I think. But yeah, he's he's working on the different volumes. Again, homeschooler, African, Afrocentric, centered. You know what I'm saying? Wrote a book.
We'll put the link to buy the book later on. We're setting up everything, so you'll see the price is about $30. So discount the price of shipping, so that's how it is. It's self-produced, it's self-published, so and like it's hard copy, so you can also put it.
Do you know who the publisher is for those?
The publisher is in France. I don't know.
I say it's in France. Yeah, out of France.
It's out of France.
A black woman, of course. What about the program in the other chapter?
Which one?
Wait, before you get to that though, the author of the book, follow us on social media so you can know when he'll be in town talking about the book again. So he'll be stateside again, talking about his book in Philly. So please follow us so you can get more information and come out and support and have the opportunity to purchase the books in person.
All right.
AI Philly.
Okay. So,
AIphilly.org.
I don't know if we're gonna have time to knock the two last thing that we have.
Of course we do. Come on,
Yeah,
let's
we
get
do.
to it.
All right. So
We gotta plug in the education. We're talking about doing our own education. We got our own education going on.
yeah.
We got workbooks too. We got our own workbooks.
Oh yeah. I don't have it.
Shanuti, again, it's all about education, educating, exposing the kids. We got our own workbooks that teach, teaching the kids about our different, heroes, ancestors. Plug in with us, you know what I'm saying, so you could get that information. So, and also, if you are plugged in with us, we have people who have access to other books, you know what I'm saying, that are helpful and could, you know what I'm saying, assist you on your homeschooling journey. So I want to give a shout out while we're here, because we have a channel where we correspond, Sister Wawa, Brother Talawa, in terms of our homeschooling initiative. So I want to give a shout out to Brother Afro Native. That's his name on IG and on Twitter. And he's dumped like mad like information. And the latest book was like a children's version of Yurugu. You know what I'm saying? That's, everybody knows like Yurugu is like, I hate to compare it, but or call it, but like that's the book, that's the manifesto, right? Like that's what you need to read. So he put us on to a child version of that. So if you want some more information about that, please reach out to us. We can get that out to you. Shout out to Brother Afro Native for that information. So yeah.
All right. So
all right, Shanuti.
Yeah. I just put the other workbooks if people want to see. It's $20, so you can buy it on our website. But
go get those workbooks. They have great historical figures. I have them for my children and I. We went through. Yeah, so. I think one of the books, that my girls are still a little young. My children are a little young, but
all right,
we'll get through it all.
All right. So last topic tonight. So is Borderless Africa. So we're gonna play a video for you first. It's a short
and
video.
Set it up, Shanuti. The video is from the president of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta. And he gives us some information about, or he gives his opinion on the borderless Africa. But the context, though, just so everybody's clear, is about an airline from 2 African countries. So
all right.
Each other, and you need to support each other. And as I always state, you are not competitors. And I think the big mistake we have made is by making each other competitors. We are not competing. We have yet to satisfy our respective markets. Our problem is that we are not working closer together to meet the demands that our people have. And as I was telling another gathering, these borders, and I also mentioned to my brother, these borders that you create silos for yourselves amongst, you must always remember, are not your creation. These were creations of people outside of this continent who made these borders not to develop you, but to extract from you. Now that you want to develop yourself, we must start looking at these borders, and we must start removing the barriers that we have put, that have defined us in the past, and now hinder us from being the giant that we should be. I was telling my brother this morning the ridiculousness of our borders, that we in Kenya have a border demarcated with, on one side with Tanzania, where the people who live on the border are the Maasai community. They were a nation once upon a time. Now today, they are Kenyans, they are Tanzanians, and yet they are relatives, but they live on 2 sides of a border. This is not proper. I was telling him of another example to our west, Lake Victoria, where again another boundary was drawn between Kenya and Uganda. And we're at one particular moment in time between 2005 and 2007.
Yeah, I didn't know you were gonna play that far.
Yeah,
You
sorry.
were saying some good information, but I know Talawa is gonna say, but look what he was wearing. I know what you're gonna say.
What's wrong with this? Yeah, that's true. Tell her what about this suit? Like, you happy or did what he say was enough to kind of balance out? Or
No, I'll say I don't agree with his choice of dress, but is he right about borders in the context? I think, and I shout out to Brother Omuwale, my very own Brother Omuwale, who did a presentation on Nigerianism. A lot of these current countries in Africa are colonial creations. They're really land-based bank accounts for different, European terrorist nations, like, the French crackers and the British crackers. Right, mainly. Right. So I think that's important. So what he was saying is historically correct. The reason Nigeria, it's a British creation. For example, I know he wasn't talking about Nigerian in this clip, but he's right about Kenya, Tanzania. South Africa is pretty much Boer terror, Boer occupation.
Yeah, and then like he said further on in the video, I mean, these borders is like separating families, right? Brothers against brothers for, whatever false borders that they have going on. And then we also talk about like why the borders don't make sense, because now you're criminalizing Black people from doing business with other Black people. Not to mention, like, it costs a lot of money, you know what I'm saying, to get like a visa or whatever it is that you need to travel from Botswana to, like, you know what I'm saying, which is like, that's ridiculous, you know what I'm saying? Because I mean, you think about it, like in the United States we have like the different borders, but like it's not costing us money, right? It's not preventing us from seeing brother or sister, you know what I mean? So I think that would
like
be
we can get in a car and drive to each state, no problem. Some people can't do that.
I think that would be I think that would be a move. Like, it would be a really, really move. And I think to some degree, I think also like pooling funds where it's necessary to make sure like that interaction is smooth, right? So there would need to be an infrastructure for highways or whatever, versus looking on the outside. Let's get together and do that, country to country, employing our own people in order to manifest these things. So I think the opportunities are endless if you know what I'm saying, we do it right. My only thing, like, I like what the brother said. I still don't know too much about him, because if I'm not mistaken, again, I think he was like, chummy with Macron. I don't know what that means. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what that mean up against you making this comment about borderless Africa, right? Like, I think
where did this come from?
I mean, just researching about him, you know what I'm saying, and just looking into certain things. So again, we gotta be careful about this double talking, you know what I'm saying, and thinking about the interest. But borderless Africa would be a beautiful move. You know what I'm saying? It definitely would be a beautiful move, because then we wouldn't be so siloed in terms of even defending each other. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Defending Africa wouldn't even be a problem. And I think that's another thing that we should focus on, right? Is some sort of like military front, some military support of each other, because a lot of times we don't make no moves because who really could defend us? You know what I'm saying? No matter where we're at.
Each country on its own can't hold weight.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So imagine if we were able to do that without, you know what I'm saying? And then a lot of that is in our head, right? You know what I'm saying? We could just be like, nah, fuck these borders. You know what I'm saying? So, we gotta get into that too. So yeah, so
Yeah, so for me, when we talk about borderless Africa, like you say, like my worry is like, I think I have this conversation with Brother Omwale again. Shout out to him. Is like, are we gonna have a borderless Africa with the frontier that we have? You know what I mean? Like with the country that we still have. Like, how are we gonna reimagine those limits, or like, is there gonna be any? And are we going to talk about the leadership? Are we going to have one government to kind of speak for the entire continent? You know what I mean? Because I feel like there's also a group of European who are looking Africa just as a potential market where they can come again and sell their own good. And it will benefit them to have a borderless Africa, so they can create a company just like a Toyota or or you can think about, because there's this push for them to create a borderless Africa so that they can implant the industries in Africa and being able to dominate the African market. So that's one worry. Like I, I see.
I think
Yeah.
I think we need to stop having this conversation that, like, if we unite, we got to erase who we are. And we've had this conversation, I think, in bits in other podcasts, other live streams that we've done.
Mhm.
When I say borderless, right, I don't mean like, all right, you not Zulu no more, or you not Igbo no more. That's not the conversation we having. We having the conversation of a borderless Africa in terms of, like, not for it to be some like lawless place, right? So
Mhm.
I think, we're not going to always get the solutions or have the solutions right away. But I think the point of saying a self-determined borderless Africa,
Mhm.
we just got to do something, right? Like, we got to do something to change, what I'm saying, our political and economic trajectory. Because we know when Africa is good, we good all over the world, right? You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
I I want people to kind of let's think a little bit different in terms of, just because we saying borderless Africa don't mean I'm saying like erase who you are or erase who your people are.
Nah.
Like,
Yeah.
we need to be a little bit more sophisticated on what that looks like in terms of, like, economic mobility, political mobility, right? What does
Mhm.
that look like? And also re-examining those things, those structures that we're part of, right? Does the current political apparatus that's functioning in these countries, does it make sense, right? Is it something that we've named ourselves, right? Why shut us off, like Namibia and Angola? Well, what's working in Angola that could be used in Namibia, vice
I
versa,
think
right?
I think
So
that can happen naturally for me. Like it will, but for me is the legislation, the laws behind it, how they're gonna set it up, and at one time, at what moment they're gonna be able to implement it. I think there's a lot of political environment that need to be cleaned up for it. Like I'm all for let's go and do it, but like knowing who's pushing it, who want it to happen, how they're talking about it. You know what I mean? That's why I'm saying, like, are we still gonna, is this the same leadership that we have that's gonna make it? And like when they say borderless, does that mean just they're gonna create highway with a better way of African people to go from a country to another one, or are we going to recreate the entire frontier, things like that,
And
baby
then like
steps.
borders?
It
fiat,
could be
So
baby
money
steps.
exchange.
so
There's a lot of
But
questions with
but
there's
that.
a
it's
lot
baby
of
steps
question.
though,
That's
right?
why
We could just
we say self-determined borderless Africa. Like, is it really African? Is it going to be a really African project in a way, like it benefit African people? Because we have to be clear about it. Like, there's two different. I think you and I we had this conversation about like Pan-Africanism, because I was saying that personally I thought that Pan-Africanism is like it's an empty shell. You know what I mean? And I don't think there's like before Afrocentricity, which I believe is like the conscious of Pan-Africanism. I don't think there's ever really like something to feel Pan-Africanism to give it like really like a true direction where it should go. I always see that anybody can call himself Pan-African. Uhuru Kenyatta clearly is probably a liberal or a capitalist, but like he's gonna say, "Oh, I'm Pan-African. Let's do borderless Africa," and they're gonna have like they're gonna bring like a corporation from America and all those companies, give employment to African people. African people can go work in Ethiopia and live in Gabon. But like, how is it going to help African people if like African people are not building a society that goes with their culture, with what they want, kind of.
So I think that's the whole thing that I'm saying. Like, why would we ask that questions as African people, right? Why wouldn't that be the criteria, right? I'm not asking that question because that's the criteria. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to talk about a self-determined borderless Africa if it's not us building the infrastructure, right? So for me, that's not a question. Like, that's, to me, that's a given. You understand what I'm saying? But we could take it in baby steps. It could be just like what you said. All right, let's start first. Let's not make it hard for people in Nigeria to go to Ivory Coast or Benin, right? What does that look like? You know what I'm saying? Take it step by step.
Better roads, better
what
security.
can we get out of it? Nobody telling you to uproot everything from the beginning. You got to do this thing in tiers. All right, so what's going to make, and to your point, all right, now we could talk about like what this looked like. You know what I'm saying? We got this amount of people, and as a result, this is what happens. This is what we got to take it in baby steps, and we got to be smart, and we like that question for me, like, it's like, all right, if it's not African, or if we ain't started, I ain't fucking listening, because that's why we having this conversation now, because we listening, right? You know what I'm saying? So yeah. But yeah, I'm game. Like, I think, and these are the questions we should ask if we're headed in that direction. We should demand answers to these questions. So yeah.
All right. So let's close the show with this last topic here. Sorry. So Nigerian government placed UK on the COVID-19 red list. So that was we always like to hand up with some good little thing that we see going on out there.
That was the move.
That was the move. I believe.
That was
flex.
Little flex.
That was a move.
Oh, word? You gonna ban us?
I believe that the UK tried to ban Nigerian from going to
all the countries that was on the red list from the variant. So Nigeria.
Not Omicron. Don't be like me going out here saying Omicron.
What is it? Or Omicron, right?
Omicron.
Not Omicron, because I was putting another N in there for some reason.
It's
Omicron. People. Omicron, yeah.
Oh man, I was doing that too.
Listen,
I think I was
Omicron. I'm like all the way wrong.
But that was
We're
beautiful.
relying on technology. See
So share your thought. What do you think about this move, and let us know.
I loved it. I mean, it's not even that big of a deal, but it might be, right? Because they're going to say, okay, well, you're not allowed to fly here. And they're like, you know what? Fuck it. All right. Y'all can't fly here. And now they're like, okay, wait. So that in itself was just a little big way of saying, y'all not just going to keep just bullying us with this COVID bullshit. Right. And then you do this and that. We got to do it. No, y'all need our resources. Y'all need to come here. Your businessmen need to come here. Yeah. So we're just going to ban you. Fuck it. And then what? So it's like, I'm not tooting Nigerian government by any means, but this one thing was kind of
make you proud.
Yeah, for once.
Talawa, anything?
I mean, I just like the constant beating up of Britain. The welfare queen will get licked up. First, there's Barbados stashing away, though they need to get out of the Commonwealth, though. But this is a good start. Then Nigeria is like, okay, we ban you. So this is positive. I always like to see shots at the welfare queen.
I want to see more of it. That's why the Ghana forcing the vaccines was like, oh, come on. It happened like
disappointing. That would have been a good move. Like, that would have been smooth if Ghana didn't do what they did. So yeah, go on, Sister Iya.
No, I agree with everybody. That was the move. And again, when we talked about the self-determined borderless, right? Nigeria did that on the muscle for everybody. You know what I'm saying? That was on the list. So, you know what I'm saying? They took everybody off the list. that's the kind of thinking,
Oh,
right?
they did. I didn't know that part. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Canada.
when Nigeria did it, UK was like, all right, we taking everybody off the red list, all the countries in Africa that they had on the
Yeah.
on the list. So when Nigeria made that move, they was like, all right, well, bet, check this. And so look, that just stood for everybody else, because guess what? If they didn't do what they did, them other countries would be like, you can't come either. You know what I'm saying? So they knew what it was. So like, yeah, kudos to them for doing that. And also it's an example of, yo, man, if Nigeria do what they do, Africa just gonna look different, yo. Like for real, for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that small move they did, if that's any indication, any indication of what Nigeria like really could do,
Like,
yeah, like
you got a lot of people. You got like what, the fourth most populous country on the planet. We everywhere. You know, we got a lot of money and resources in there.
yeah, it's like,
I'm
you
just
know what I'm saying?
saying.
So
I'm just saying, you're right, and a lot of people know this. So we're just, unfortunately, we're doing too much waiting for it to happen.
right.
But this was just that one. That's why I said it was a little big flex, you know, in a little way we could say, hey man, we don't need none of this shit. We really don't. And like you said, I just learned something new. It stuck up and had an effect on our brothers too, not just for us. But that's a big deal, I think. You know, even bigger than what I just thought 2 minutes ago.
So big up to them for that move. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, you know what I'm saying, with everything going on, I would like for us to start propelling more stories where we are looking inward, because we are doing that, right? It is people in, you know, people in these various countries who are doing that. So I hope we can prop up more stories and provide the people more information like that. So yeah, I mean, big up, you know what I'm saying? Big up to Nigeria for that. So
Yeah. Big up to falling off the welfare, off the, how do you say it, Talawa? The welfare queen.
Oh, the welfare queen.
You know, yeah, because you said it. We're just dropping like flies from the world, you know. I just love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, stay, you know, we just got to keep staying plugged in. So, I mean, yeah, so,
We'll keep staying informed. Keep watching African World Order, where we talk about this, you know.
Exactly. And I was just going to say, like, that's the whole thing, right? We Afritricity International. So we not only in Philly, we on the ground on a continent, right? We, you know, for example, we got Ivory Coast, we got Congo, we got Gabon,
Benin.
we got France, we in Benin. So, you know,
Zimbabwe.
Yes, Zimbabwe. So it's Rwanda, Afrocentricity International. So if you want to learn more, please
Brazil.
visit us.
Shout out to Brazil.
Oh yeah, come on, yeah. Shanuti Swahili down there. Yeah, big up.
Haiti. I don't know. I can't remember them all. You know, we everywhere.
That's what I'm saying. Like, check us out, www.aiphilly.org. Get more information. Like I said, we're adding information. We're growing. Check us out on all our social media platforms: Twitter, IG, Facebook. And again, donations, we appreciate it. We love it. We love y'all. Cash app us at $AI Philly. But yeah, that's it, y'all. Like, it's love. Wawa, thank you for joining us today. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you can get back in the swing of things, you know, because you all bougie down there in the sun and stuff. Like, you coming up here hating. You in Talawa, y'all. Y'all know how to,
you have to come down south.
Y'all know how to act now.
I'm telling y'all, use your New York money and buy some stuff down here. Buy some property and some land.
They thawed out. They trying to say they thawed out a little bit.
Yeah, whatever.
There's enough space. Come on now.
All right, my people.
No, thanks for having me. I love conversation.
No,
I'm always trying to listen in when I can, and I'll probably be back for the Kwanzaa one too. You know, I think we're doing some sort of Kwanzaa whatever closeout, right?
And remember, check us out, y'all, for y'all Kwanzaa gifts. Check us out. Buy the workbooks, buy the books, they're available. Let's start, you know what I'm saying? Let's start 2022, or forget 2022. Let's start now. Get these books.
Yeah, we still got time. We got a week.
Yep. Well, you know what? It was a pleasure to have you all and following us, and keep it true with us. And I believe we're not sure. We might do a Kwanzaa episode. We might not because it's kind of a funky time. We had scheduled it for like the 29th or the 30th, if I can remember. So we're not too sure, but we will let you know for sure. So, but like we can already say Happy Kwanzaa in advance in case we don't see you, and keep following with us. We're gonna take a break after that for a month, and I think we're gonna come back in February when things for a little break. You know what I mean? Just kind of see how things are. But like we say, victory is our aim.
Unity is our
Unity is our destiny.
Unity is our aim.
Victory is our
Victory
destiny.
is our destiny.
My bad. I did it wrong. I did it wrong. So unity is our aim. Unity is our aim.
You gotta stop drinking during the episodes.
That's that. I'm like, I think we went like it's like an hour and 20 minutes. So like we went over the time. I'm so like my brain is kind of really bad. Anyway, hey, it was a pleasure. Love you all.
Absolutely.
You know, you stay sharp and beautiful, my Black people. Bye.
I think what we are suffering from is ideological confusion. That is, that we're not clear, we're not thinking clearly, and that we need a context within which to answer the question, is something good or bad? We assume that we have the same goals, but we never say what they are. It's time for us to think and articulate and establish our goals as Black nationalists and Pan-Africanists. We need vision, we need clarity. Otherwise, we can't answer the question, is it good for African people? Nationalist goal is self-determination. In the spirit of Delaney, Garvey, Malcolm, Amos, it is Pan-African commitment, that is the unity of African people worldwide and one Africa on the continent as a basis for African strength. So we are about building a Pan-African world order based on the principles of Ma'at, not in imitation of a European order. Ma'at as justice and truth. We need a nation concept, as Dr. Clark told us. A Black economic program, a cultural program, an independent political organization, independent Black media, independent African-centered education financed by us and controlled by us. All of this presupposes, very importantly, an African Black identity.